What if everything you were taught about human history was just a comfortable narrative, carefully constructed to keep everything under control? What if there's a hidden past, erased, buried so deeply that only giant stones scattered across the planet still dare to remember? Tonight, you're not just watching a video, you're crossing an invisible line. You're walking among ruins that defy logic, time, and modern technology. You're about to face works so impossible they seem to mock the idea that we were ever a primitive civilization. And I warn you, stay until the end. The final enigma may completely change the way you see humanity's past. Welcome to Dark, the channel that reveals what many are too afraid to even research. From this moment on, close the door, turn up the volume, and prepare your mind. We're going to explore monuments that shouldn't exist. Giants of stone carved with such precision they look machine-made. Blocks so massive that even today's most advanced cranes would struggle to move them. Structures so perfectly aligned with the sky that they seem to have been built by master astronomers. Civilizations separated by oceans, supposedly without contact, building the same way. None of that should make sense. But it does once you abandon the comfort of the official narrative and accept the forbidden possibility, maybe long before us, someone else was here. Someone who knew far more than we imagine. Let's begin with Baalbek in Lebanon. There lies the so-called Stone of the Pregnant Woman, a single block so large it destroys any conventional explanation. More than 1,200 tons in one piece. To compare, that's the equivalent of 3 Boeing 747 airplanes side by side. Even with modern technology, moving something like this would be a massive engineering operation, extremely difficult, dangerous, and totally out of the ordinary. Yet history books claim that ancient people, without machines, without advanced metals, without industrial pulleys, cut, transported, and positioned these stones using ropes, wooden rollers, and human strength. Physics laughs at this explanation. None of it is plausible. In fact, the real question isn't how did they move it. The real question is, why wouldn't anyone admit that we don't know? Because there are even larger stones recently unearthed. Stones so massive that attempting to move them today would be an international engineering event. So who really built Baalbek? Who placed those stones there? The Romans? Unlikely. What we may be looking at is the work of a forgotten culture, far older and far more advanced than anything we were allowed to imagine. Now we travel to one of the most impossible places on Earth, Sacsayhuaman in Peru. Here, the walls don't look ancient, they look impossible. Gigantic stones, some with more than 20 angles, fit together with such precision that not even a blade can slip between them. No mortar, no gaps, no mistakes. Each piece carved as if it were part of a single living organism. And these walls withstand earthquakes that destroy modern cities. According to the official narrative, the Incas built all this using stone hammers, ropes, and patience. But is it possible to carve and interlock huge blocks of diorite and andesite with rudimentary tools? Is it possible to make cuts so perfect they look molded? Something doesn't add up. Maybe the Incas found the structures already there. Maybe they inherited something far older. Maybe Sacsayhuaman is the echo of knowledge humanity has forgotten. Then we reach the site that destroys the official timeline, Göbekli Tepe. In Turkey, archaeologists found a complex of temples over 12,000 years old. That's older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than any known city. And the most disturbing part, according to conventional history, at that time humans were small nomadic groups, hunter-gatherers with no agriculture, no writing, no advanced tools, and no social organization capable of building monuments. Yet Göbekli Tepe has carved pillars, precise alignments, and complex imagery. It makes no sense. It fits no model. It was supposed to be impossible, but it exists. And worse, it was buried deliberately. Someone wanted it hidden, or protected, or preserved. Whatever the reason, Göbekli Tepe is a crack in history so large that it should force humanity to rewrite everything. But archaeology prefers to force the impossible into a comfortable narrative. Now we arrive at the place that looks touched by machines, Puma Punku. In Bolivia, at an altitude where even breathing is hard, we find blocks of andesite stone as hard as steel cut with geometric perfection. Crisp 90-degree angles. Symmetrical cavities. Grooves so perfect they look like the work of electric saws. Shapes that lock into each other like components of a modern machine. Yet again, the official explanation is stone hammers. The problem? Even today, cutting andesite with such accuracy is extremely difficult. What if these blocks were molded or cut by forgotten technology? When you look at them, the impression is unmistakable. This is not primitive. This is advanced, precise, modern. It feels like someone with technology far beyond their time left a signature in stone. But the mystery doesn't end with the stones, because when we examine ancient structures worldwide, a pattern emerges, one that should not exist. Megaliths align with solstices, equinoxes, constellations, and specific stars. Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, the pyramids of Egypt, Teotihuacan, Angkor Wat, Baalbek, Göbekli Tepe, even underwater ruins in Japan. Different cultures, separated by oceans and continents, following the same advanced astronomical logic. Why? How? Coincidence? Or memory of something much older? Something shared? A global knowledge inherited from an earlier world? And then there is the problem of transportation. How do people without wheels, without draft animals, without heavy metal tools move blocks weighing dozens or hundreds of tons? Ancient legends speak of stones that walked, that floated, that were moved by sacred chants. Stories that sound like fantasy, but appear in cultures that never met each other. Floating stones? Vibrations moving matter? Lost knowledge? If any of this is true, then these ruins aren't just old, they're evidence of technologies unrecorded, perhaps forbidden. This leads to what many call the dangerous theory, the theory of lost civilizations. Societies that existed before the last great global catastrophe around 11,600 years ago, when the Earth underwent abrupt and mysterious climatic changes. A civilization capable of working stone with perfect precision, studying the sky with absolute accuracy, and moving colossal structures in ways we can't explain. A civilization advanced, organized, perhaps global, one that vanished almost completely, leaving behind only fragments, pillars, temples, walls, impossible shapes. What if these works are merely the ruined remains of something far greater, built by people whose names we'll never know? Modern archaeology resists this idea because accepting it would require rewriting everything. It would destroy theories, textbooks, theses, and entire careers. So instead of accepting the obvious, they cling to fragile, almost childish explanations. But stones don't lie. They don't bend to narratives. They don't care about academic comfort. They are eternal. They are witnesses. They carry the truth. So we reach the most important question. Why were these monuments built? For what purpose? Who raised them? And why are so many destroyed, buried, submerged, or hidden? The silence of the stones is uncomfortable. They seem to whisper something, but the message is fragmented, broken, scattered across time. Yet even through the silence, one echo remains. You don't know who came before you. You have forgotten. Or worse, you were made to forget. Maybe these megaliths are more than temples. Maybe they're markers, messages, warnings left by a civilization that saw the incoming and tried to preserve what they knew in the only medium that could survive the ages, stone. And we haven't yet understood the message. If you've watched this far, something inside you has awakened. Something is telling you that the official story doesn't hold. And you're right. What you've heard today is only the beginning. There are bigger secrets, darker secrets, more unsettling truths waiting to be revealed. And I promise, in the next videos, we're going deeper. Much deeper. So subscribe to the channel now. Turn on notifications, because the next revelation is coming, and it won't wait for you. The truth is being unearthed, and once it emerges, nothing will ever be the same.